All right, good morning, boys, girls, and children of all ages. Welcome back to the Nation Network. Vince McSham with you here, and this is Open Mic Night, otherwise referred to as the Ringside Report. We're kind of combining the two here today, so it's going to be an open forum. You guys can chat it up with me here. We're going to do a little talking while I'm just doing some background work. Still on 2K19 because 2K20 is a piece of living hell. Still haven't got it right. If you saw the last video, you know what I'm specifically referring to. I just talked to our good buddy Tongueless, the guy who makes the most awesome creations in all of the creative studio stuff that anybody posts in community creations. And we're going to see if we can't set up our biannual live stream event so we can compare notes. He just sent me a photograph that you may have seen where in the career mode, there's a gymnasium, I guess. I haven't done career mode at all, but if you do, there's a gymnasium that's got like a little Hall of Fame trophy case, and in it has the mask of Vader, but it's not in the created content that you can actually make a Vader, which is pretty obscene. They didn't have the Vader headdress as well, which is a little disappointing. I thought they might keep those two things in the game, but of course, no. They just stuck it to the man on that one as well, so... Anyway, been watching a lot more wrestling than ever in a long time lately. NWA is still the best thing out there, man. I'm so loving NWA. Everything about it. I just wish nothing but continued success for all of them. I think they're doing a great job of bringing back what has been sorely missing, and that's wrestling on a wrestling show. And here's the funny thing about that. They actually have the best talkers in the business. They've got some of the guys who are just so good with a microphone, whether it's Eddie Kingston, Colt Cabana. They're just so comfortable there. They're doing a great job, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Ricky Stark's really impressing the crap out of me. I see so much potential and upside for this dude, and I'd hate to see him ever go to WWE. I mean, for the money... For him, I'd be happy to see him make that paycheck. But from the character and the development and all that stuff, I hope he never has to. Then there's the elephant in the room that we should probably also bring out, and that is the AEW. So recently, Rob Van Dam was being interviewed, or a question was posed to him, and he inadvertently, perhaps in a Freudian moment, refer to them as all petite wrestling. And I'm telling you what, if that isn't the most hilarious thing, because it is spot on accurate. What they have put out there is a glorified backyard wrestling production, in my opinion. Yeah, you've got some top names. Don't get me wrong. You got guys like Cody out there, and I've been a Kenny Omega fan for a bit. Then you got the over-the-hill Chris Jericho, which I haven't been a big fan of that. But then you look at these other guys. I mean, Young Bucks have always been on the small side, but they're legit wrestlers. They've been around the block a bit, and they've been through all the different touring companies you can be part of, other than the big one, which they're doing themselves a favor, in my opinion, by avoiding that. Let me just load this up real quick so I can start doing the background work that I'm supposed to really be doing here. I just thought I'd stop out and say hello to everybody, give us a chance to see what everyone's feeling. So yeah, all petite wrestling. I just thought that was so spot on and accurate. So that is what I'll refer to it as moving forward. I don't see any way not to. And then there was probably the biggest news event in professional wrestling since the Montreal Screwjob. Well, maybe not. I mean, because after Montreal, you had the Benoit situation. But, it's up there in that conversation. And that is what really happened to the wrestlers in Saudi Arabia that were not allowed to just leave and come home as they should have been. I will be very surprised if that was not the final WWE show in Saudi Arabia. There's clearly a breach of contract at this point in time. And it's going to be hard to do a show with no performers. I don't know that you have anyone left that would make that trip after this one. I wouldn't. And I've heard a lot of big names say, fuck you, I'm not going. So I've got a funny feeling this was it for them. I don't think there's another show coming up anytime in the near future for the WWE in Saudi Arabia. And I say good riddance to the motherfuckers. Never should have happened in the first place. But, I know Vince liked that money. But when they stop paying the money that they agreed to, that's when bad things happen. So apparently the story goes, if you haven't heard it by now, I think everybody has, but if you haven't, I'll just give you the rundown of what's been told, and that is Vince still hadn't been paid all the money due from the last event, which was, I believe, Super Showdown. And that was back at the beginning of the summer. And there may or may not have been some sort of a verbal altercation with him and the Prince of Saudi Arabia. And at that time, they delayed the live stream event in Saudi Arabia, the pay-per-view, so to speak. So the fans that didn't get to go to the stadium also didn't get to watch it because Vince would not allow it to go out to Saudi Arabia. That is the story. Now, whether it's been official as of right now, not that I've heard, but pretty reliable from what I am hearing. It's very believable. And the Prince, in retribution, may have held the airplane hostage for a little bit. Not obviously by climbing on board and doing anything, but just not letting them leave. There was a live SmackDown show that night to be at, and a lot of the talents, as we know, didn't make it to that show because of the delay. You had people on the plane that were getting awfully nervous and anxious. That is not the kind of place you want to be stuck in. And I just don't think you're going to put 25 to 35 roster members, and that's not talking about the tech people, running cameras and sound and all that stuff. I don't think you're going to get a roster of 20 to 25 people to make that trip. And if you do, it's going to be the B and C level, and they're just because they want the opportunity and the exposure maybe, and they're willing to do a little something for the boss, hoping there'll be something in return. But, yeah, I just think the days of the Undertakers and the Triple H and Shawn Michaels and all that, I think that's done. Done, dead, and buried for Saudi Arabia, and I say good riddance. All right, let me see. So other than that, and I've got a quiet lobby today. I mean, I see you guys are there, so thank you for that. And if you got anything you want to weigh in on, feel free. Other than that, I'm kind of really focusing mostly on the NWA factor on this channel right now. A lot of people are really getting into that as much as I am. And I like to think that the fact that I'm excited about it is coming across a bit in the videos, and maybe that's why. But everything is upticking right now. The views on the videos is up, and the amount of time watched on videos is up. The subscriber count is going up. It's just, it's been... NWA has really just, I think, grabbed everybody's imagination and perhaps their memories, their childhood memories. And it's always cool when you can not only relive it, but now you've reintroduced it. And they've done it in a way that is super cool. All right, let's see. What am I looking for here? There we go. So on to the programming notes that I wanted to cover. Starting to kind of get to a point where I can say that I've got a little bit of a schedule ironed out now that's going to be more routine. I know it's been a lot of just hit and miss and spotty as to when I can stream, when I can't. And a lot of you guys used to be able to always follow me on the overnights when I'd start somewhere near midnight and go till 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever it was. And that's been a lot less often lately, and I've kind of covered all the details as to what's going on with that in the other videos, so I won't rehash it here now. However, that said, for the time being, it appears that Tuesday late nights going into Wednesday early mornings, so maybe 10 p.m., as a marking point on Tuesday night is when I'll be able to start doing some streaming there, and I'm generally going to try my best to have that be the 10 o'clock hour, maybe be the NWA Power, and then the follow-up program, which would probably be maybe an hour, 2 hours later, give or take, would be the NWA Unlimited, and then finally, sometime later that day or week, would be Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So that's kind of the cycle I'm looking at working off of, and then if there's a big pay-per-view event, that'll be on a Tuesday overnight as well when I have the time to put in. Other than that, what I've been doing, and it's kind of working, is starting around 9:30 p.m., but I've got a very short window of time. So from 9:30, I've got until maximum 10 p.m., and this is Eastern Standard Time, where I can do a short stream, which is normally going to be why there's 3 matches on these TV program cards, the studio cards, for the lack of a better word, is I've got to keep it to within 35, 40 maximum minutes. Well, last week, it really kind of worked out in a cool way because we were running long, and we were into the women's title match, and I had to go. I was running out of time to get to work. And we ended while the match was still in progress, much like they used to do back in the old day. And I did run the camera and continue video, and we will see what happened in that match later on. But that, again, it just feels so retro that it's cool as hell. And I like the fact that I really do have a hard time limit that I got to meet. So as much as possible, I do want to get matches concluded before ending the stream, but occasionally things are going to happen like last week, and I think that's cool because that brings something for you to come back and see next episode. I can tell you this, the next episode of NWA Power is going to be the best. Best to date. All right, I have done everything I need to do here. And, man, there's not a lot of conversation today. What's the matter? Nobody had their damn coffee yet? Ah, wait. There is life. Theo, what's up, Bubba? Yeah, I definitely saw the recap of it. I don't watch SmackDown. I don't watch Raw. And I am so tired of invasion angles that aren't even legit invasions. It's all WWE. I mean, NXT, SmackDown, Raw. It's the same umbrella. It could only be an invasion if AEW came in. Yeah, no problem, Josh. Glad you're with us. So, yeah. This is interesting. I'm seeing your comments on my live stream there, but not here. Why is that? That's weird as shit. Let me refresh my page. Oh, that time it seems like it worked. Okay, there was something weird going on there. All right, so I missed a couple of comments. It didn't pop up in the chat for some reason originally. So McMahon's trying to send the old legends in. And you know what? They'd pay for the legends. The Saudis are not smart when it comes to wrestling. That's for damn sure. And Theo, I disagree. We will hear the true story. Maybe not this month or next month or even 2020. But I think by the time the deal is done, and it will definitely be done in the next 12 months, in my opinion, I think they're about finished. You can't force the talent to travel, and they ain't going again. I just cannot imagine anyone. That was a pretty close dodge of a bullet right there. I don't think you're going to have people willing to get on a plane to go back to that shithole. I sure as hell wouldn't. Yeah, I saw that was the main event they put together. And again, talk about making lemonade out of lemons. But it's sad that the best show they had is only because their talent couldn't make it. And that turned out to be a great show. But the NXT invasion is just way too close to Nexus invasion. I mean, we've done that. We've been there, done that. I kind of like it in the sense that it's very similar to Nexus, and I loved Nexus. Thought that was a really cool way to go. But for Triple H to be in there and says, "We are NXT," as if he's part of them and not the WWE, that part right there, it would have been better if they had another front man. Matter of fact, here's how I book it. Pick whatever front man you're going to go with. Adam Cole, we'll just throw that out there, okay? I'm not a huge Adam Cole fan. I think he's just too small to be the guy. But we'll go with Adam Cole for the sake of argument. I can't swear I think of anybody with a better microphone set going than him. And have them do it. The same exact promo. The same promo, only Adam Cole. And then Triple H comes out and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? We got enough problems right now. You guys know your role. And then they all turn on Triple H and bury him. Now you got a little bit of a bite that you can work on, that they're turning even on their guy. So I think that would have worked a little bit better for me, where I could have bought into it a little bit more. Yeah, Josh, they are upset. And who wouldn't be? Who the hell wouldn't be? I mean, there's no part of the story I don't believe. I believe Vince got into it with the Prince over money. Vince, you stupid fuck. You've got a bunch of people, they're representing your company, whose lives are kind of in your hands right now. If you say the wrong thing, push too hard, you don't have a right to make people feel that they're in that situation. And I think he's really just lost a lot of the talent there, that they're no longer going to have his back in any way, shape, or form. Fuck the company. They're out the door as soon as they get a chance. And thank God for companies like the NWA coming up, because there are going to be opportunities and alternatives. Yes, alternatives. AEW just won't be one of them, because they're not going to be around for long. Yeah, there was that Extreme Rules pay-per-view, but here's the deal, and I mentioned this earlier in past streams when I was talking about the 2K20 game having very little talk about it, that sometimes when we didn't get to promote something, when it was kind of flying by the seat of your pants and you didn't really know what was going to happen, like case in point, the SmackDown show, what you knew is the talent wasn't going to be there. That part you knew. So now you truly had a what the fuck moment, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't even know who's going to be there. That's riveting television. Now, how do you make that happen on a regular basis? Well, you sure as hell don't do what you've been doing. I seriously doubt they're going to bury NXT. That would be stupid. But as I say that, I keep thinking of the Ascension. Or TLC, I beg your pardon. Yeah, you're right. Wrong time of year. Billy, do I have a moveset? Well, let me go see. Did I not put one up there for him? If not, I'll do it right now.
Trust me.
No problemo. I might have put him up before I had the moveset ready. Let's go. Family Creations. Uploads. Category select. Movesets. Where's Ricky Starks? Well, shit. Why is it not showing? Well, isn't that a bitch? All right, let me try it this way then. Yes, Eric, we are live in living color. What did Jim Cornette do this time? I don't know. What did he do this time? Did I miss something? I had not heard. Starks. My hashtags. Oh, wrong one. And as always, you can find my work by going to One Nation, the number one, the word nation. Is that right? Let me see. Yes, One Nation in your hashtags. Well, that's going to have to do. All right, I had to basically re-upload Ricky Starks from scratch because it wouldn't let me just do his moveset. But it's there with the moveset now, and I'm just going to delete the other one so there's no confusion. So Ricky Starks is now up. If anyone's interested, it's hashtag One Nation. I've also got from the NWA Ashley Box up there. I've got Watts from Hollywood, Camille, and a pretty strong Tim Storm. I'm liking the way that one turned out. Eric, I've literally just took them out of my DVR lineup. I cannot watch AEW. It is so saddening to me that they are just, to me, it's TNA 2.0. They're doing it all over again. You got a fanboy with a dad with money and no business acumen whatsoever, and he's just busy jonesing with his favorite wrestlers and letting them run the show and bring in their buddies. And, you know, you got these little midgets that should be wrestling in midget categories, and it's just not working for me. It's sloppy, a lot of it. I'm finding myself hitting the fast forward button more each week, which is why I took it out of my lineup. You know, I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown because I was fast forwarding through the whole friggin' thing. I would pause for like the in-ring promo sections just to see, is there even a decent story happening here? And it's like, nope, fast forward. I would get through 2 and 3 hour shows in less than 10 minutes, 12 minutes, because there was nothing to watch. And the only good stuff that I did find to watch was the women's division. But with AEW, I'm not a Chris Jericho fan. I've never been. I don't dislike the guy. It just, you know, I never paid $1 to see Chris Jericho in a wrestling match, nor would I, especially now. He's damn near 50. And his character just, you know, I give him credit. He reinvents himself every fucking 6 months, and it works somehow, you know. But it still doesn't get over with me. So from that standpoint, I don't care for their product. I thought it was a really, really bad idea to put the belt on him. I get the name recognition, but he's not in his prime. He's not even close. Like, if they got Randy Orton, like the rumor mill has it, if they had Randy Orton and put it on him, yeah, he's still got some good years left on him. But Jericho, no, he just doesn't. I mean, like, he signed, what, a 3-year contract? That's what he's got left. Yeah, that's another thing, the AEW that Theo mentions, talking about the WWE all the time. Good morning, Primetime. I just, oh, man. I wanted them to succeed. I did. Because, honestly, to have AEW succeed, and I know, you know, somebody can argue right now that they are succeeding. Look at the ratings. You're looking at the ratings on something new. That's going to go away. People are checking it out. I promise you, their fan base is not loyal. And they're going to soon see through and realize the Emperor's not wearing any clothes. I was never one of their fanboys. I was a wrestling fan. I gave them the chance. I wanted them to be successful. I swear to God I wanted it. I just don't see it happening. It's not something that I can watch. And just that's where I'm at with it, period. There are people that like it, people that are going to like it. I don't begrudge you if that's one, you know, you're in that boat. But like when I'm looking at what I do with this channel, and I've been doing some AEW stuff here and there, and I've tried a couple things on different channels with them, just to see, you know, if there's a good fit. Because I don't feel like AEW is going to fit on this channel. So I've looked at some alternative things, including the Twitter channel that I use occasionally for this stuff, for the Nation work. And I've also, not Twitter, but Twitch. The Twitch channel, and also this Mixer channel. I just don't feel like it's going to get enough views to make it worth my time. If I thought I could build a Mixer channel by doing this stuff, that'd be something else. I just don't see it. So Primetime, again, we talked about this a little while ago. I did not watch the episode. I've seen highlights of it, where they compress it into 15-minute recaps and stuff like that, which is about as much attention as I have for that programming. And I just feel like we've already seen this with Nexus, and they're rehashing. But that said, the main event was a great main event to have. I haven't watched it yet. I'll try to watch that match, if nothing else, because it looks like that would have been a great match. And I like the fact that you can have that match. So from the possibility of who you could have wrestling against who, definitely opens a lot of doors for some memorable matches. What I would love to see them do is just have those friggin' matches. Quit all this bad written drama and these sick storylines that go nowhere, that nobody gives a shit about, and let these guys and girls do what the fuck they do. You got 3 hours and 2 hours. Let them wrestle. They're so worried about having major events like Survivor Series and WrestleMania and getting, everyone and their mother on the card somehow. We're going to have a 25-person battle royal followed by a 30-person elimination chamber because they want everyone to get some time on the program. You have all this time on a weekly basis that you could easily be getting them in front of a camera. Why the fuck aren't you? All right, so Cornette, yeah, I heard him say that. And I agree 100% with him so far as Marco Stunt. Now, what's the suicide thing about? The NWA had to release a statement after his comments about suicide. I'm guessing that he didn't claim he was going to commit suicide. Was he suggesting AEW is? Ulmer, I could not agree with you more, buddy, and that's the first thing I said. I thought for sure the Hangman was going to beat Jericho because they wanted a big recognizable name so that this guy could get the rub and be instantly legitimate. Made man, okay? Thought that's what was going to happen, but nope. Dixie Point 2.0 stepped in and went with his fan favorite, his childhood superstar. That's a point that I'll differ with you on, Ulmer. I actually do like SCU quite a bit. Again, not the youngest group in professional wrestling by any stretch of the imagination, but they still put on great matches consistently, and they do know each other very, very well, so there's a chemistry factor that you cannot buy. So I'm a fan of the SCU. I think the titles on them is perfect. I've got no problems with that. Primetime, don't you worry about it. NWA Power will be on TBS. I guarantee it. Saturdays at 6:05. It has to happen. And that's when everybody should really start getting nervous, by the way. Yeah, well, TNA did have some good angles in the early days, but guess what they didn't have? Dixie Carter. And Jericho's going to be back over Wrestle Kingdom. Good for him. Again, I don't have anything against the guy personally. I think what he does well. I mean, he's great at being a heel. That's all he wants to be as a heel. All right, so Cornette made Is that the comment that Cornette made? The only suicide will be Shahid Khan when he gets the bill for his son's hobby? Or is that your comment, Jack? Because if that's the comment Cornette made, what the fuck, man? It's a joke. You're not apologizing for that. Yeah, I've been saying Ricky Starr is the guy to watch, man. I wish he was a little bigger. And over time, he'll get a little bit bigger. But I feel like he has a certain, dare I say it, Dwayne Johnson-esque thing about him. Oh, that's your take. I thought that was what Cornette said, because somebody was posting earlier about Cornette or the NWA apologizing for his suicide remark, and I don't recall him making a suicide remark, although it's, if it was during one of the programs, then, that's 45 minutes of color commentator. I could have missed something. But, Jack, I do agree with you. Yeah, the Watching Power is definitely a throwback, and it's so perfect. You literally are just taking a huge part of history from 20-plus years ago, 30-plus years ago. That studio is such a remnant of the past of professional wrestling, and they've done so much to recreate it accurately. And then you throw in really strong talent. I was listening to one of Jim's drive-through podcasts, and it's a recent one, where people were basically attacking him for attacking AEW. And he said, listen, yeah, they got more viewers on their dark show on YouTube than we have. But you know how much they had to spend to get those viewers? TNT don't come cheap. Whereas NWA has a long-term goal, and they're spending next to nothing, and I loved it. He turns around, do you know why we tape inside of a television studio? Do you have any fucking idea why? Because that's where the damn television and fucking equipment is. And it's so damn true. It's like, we're not paying for no fucking basketball arenas. We're not paying for pyro and this, and he's right. All that costs fucking money. What he's doing is he's part of a team that is putting on a superior wrestling product for a small fraction of the cost. And to up the brilliance level, because of social media being where it is now, you don't even need a damn TV deal. YouTube, bam, it's out there. And the fans come flocking. It's free. Watch it whenever the hell I want. And it's good product. Yeah, Willie, I've been saying it even in this stream earlier. I see almost no chance that NWA Power does not end up on TBS. It has to. And I get the fact that there be a conflict in some ways. But you know what? If I'm TBS or Turner Network, whatever you want to call it, why wouldn't I want to corner the market? If I've got the NWA on one of my networks and I've got the All Petite Wrestling in the other one, I'm hitting Vince from north and south and all points in between. That's a double cannon. Theo, I tell you what, there is not a day goes by that I don't think of that Paul Heyman quote in just every aspect of my life. While I'm at work, when I'm doing stuff outside of work, if I get I still play hockey a little bit, I dabble in basketball still a little bit. I'm losing steps every day, but to that point, I'm not going to go head to head with some younger guy and get smoked. I play smarter. I play different. I hide my negatives and I focus on my positives. But I remind myself of that quote specifically from Heyman, because honest to God, if not for some really bad decision making, who knows what ECW would look like today. He did a great job taking nothing in a bingo hall with no bathrooms of any value and putting out one of the hottest fucking products. And here's the difference between ECW and AEW. He had the most rabid, loyal fans. You can say what you want about AEW's product today and the fans today. I am guaranteeing you in 1 year's time, half of those fans will drop off. Now, they may fill that void with some new ones, but I'm telling you right now, you look at all those ECW shows and look at who's sitting in the front row every single fucking episode. You got the hat guy, you got the sign guy, you got the Howard Stern looking dude. It's the same exact. You got the dreadlocks guy. They were there for every friggin' event. Then he goes and starts getting big, does some pay-per-views, goes to Pittsburgh. Who's in the front row? Same damn guys. It's like they had reserved seats no matter where the show went. That was the level of dedication to the ECW product by its fans. They absolutely just bought in, spent their money, followed loyally, and just continued doing what they do. And again, if it weren't for some bad financial moves by Heyman, who knows, man? That is something that I think of. He understood when it was time to change, time to evolve. Would ECW still be doing the hardcore extreme stuff today? I don't know. I really don't know. But it'd be fun to see. You know, if I go back in a time machine, get in my DeLorean, my buddy Doc Brown over here, and head back in time and kind of show him the almanac, Paul Heyman, and say, hey, you want to avoid this. You're about to make a real big fucking mistake. And have him change things so that it's still going on. What would it look like today, and who would be in it? We may never know that. Well, we won't know that answer, but it'll be a curiosity factor for me for a long time. No, honestly, the TNN deal really was the signing of the death penalty there for ECW. They buried him. As Heyman clearly pointed out, they did nothing to promote their program, and they were fighting literally just to be seen at that point. So I don't think Vince fears AEW at all, and I don't think he should, because he's going to crush AEW the same way he crushed everybody else. NWA, that is where he better understand his threat lies. That doesn't mean ignore AEW. You need to bury them if you're Vince. You don't want to let them. One time I was at a buddy's game. A buddy of mine's coaching his girls' team, and the basketball team he coaches his daughter on. And it was starting to get close and interesting. He had a big lead, and all of a sudden they were kind of whittling it away into the fourth quarter, and I heard him yell. And this is a guy, he's a great guy. He's a family guy. He's a Christian guy. He would never mean this negatively. It just came out the way it did, and I couldn't stop laughing. But he's yelling at his team. Guys, what the hell are you doing? Knock it off. Don't let them think they can win. And that's kind of the way I feel about the AEW. They can't win. Just don't let them think they can. Yeah, I know. Look, again, I could never quite figure out how he got that deep in debt. As I recall, the ECW pay-per-view buy rates weren't bad at all, so he should have made money on them. The TV programming, much like NWA, it was a very affordable place. It was their home. They ran that show. To the point that Cornette made, that's where the TV equipment lived, and it was... Again, I just don't know, how do you fall that deep in the hole with something that essentially ran itself? Yeah, McMahon's a businessman, of course, but he's also getting up there in age, and as are we all. But I don't know. He's got a little element of Trump to him where he has to prove his dick is bigger than yours when that's not necessarily the right move. And as a shrewd businessman, then you don't need to let no one know how big your dick is. So I don't think he's shrewd. I think he's crass. And that can work. I don't recommend playing that game in Saudi Arabia while your troop is sitting on the friggin' tarmac. I think that's probably not the time to get into a pissing contest. Is part of the NWA owned by Vince? If it is, that's the first I'm hearing about it. The only thing I've ever heard, and that was from Cornette's podcast, and that's going back a little ways ago, back when Corgan only had a champion touring the country, is that there may be some claim that Vince owns that NWA championship belt. Not necessarily the physical one they're holding, but that style, that may be copyrighted to the WWE in the purchase of WCW. That said, he's allowed it to go this far. I have a funny feeling a court would now say, well, if you had a problem with it, you should have said so earlier. You definitely knew the product was out there. You knew that they were touring the country with it. I mean, look at it this way. Larry Zbyszko years ago started dusting off the AWA championship, had his own promotion, and he was, it was the AWA. He recreated the AWA in his own light, and he was a champion going around with the belt. And they came down on him. That's why it effectively ended. WWE put a cease and desist. You do not have rights to the AWA logo, moniker. You can't call it American Wrestling Association. And fuck, that's our belt. And that was that. So the fact that he hasn't done it with the NWA tells me he probably doesn't have anything to do with it. But at the same time, if he were some sort of investor in it, then that would be why they're allowing the NWA belt to be used. So I don't know firsthand, but from everything I've seen and believe, I think that the NWA is its own thing, and Corrigan doesn't have to have Vince in his corner. And he's already look, he's not using Vince McMahon money. Otherwise, he'd have a bigger production. And he's doing so well with what he's got going on right now, I just don't see McMahon being a part of the NWA in any way. If I was able to start a federation and have money, who would I sign as talent? Well, it depends how much money I got now. I mean, if I've only got a couple $100,000 to work with, then I'm having to look at the Joey Ryans of the world, in which case I would just get the fuck out of the business now. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, let's just assume I had a real budget to work with here, okay? For talent. Not necessarily, I mean, I don't need to be selling out arenas. I'd be perfectly happy going to civic centers and filling those up with maybe 6 to 7, even 8,000 people. I think it's a little bit better when you're doing those numbers. I think, first off, you're guaranteeing yourself a full house and a hot crowd. Plus, it brings everyone closer to the action, and that helps create the hot crowd. So I would be looking at going that route personally. I know at the end of the day, people say, yeah, but you fill up a bigger stadium, make more money. Maybe. But I'd rather turn people away than have to make everybody sit on this side of the arena so it looks like we're full. But name-wise, I do like Nick Aldis quite a bit. Wasn't a Magnus fan at all, but then again, he was on TNA, so I can't judge anything by that. I still think you have a lot of life left in John Morrison. I would want to use him. I think his talent level is good. I think he never had the break he should have had. Without a doubt, I would want Dolph Ziggler. He would be my champion. Dolph fucking Ziggler would be my number one guy. Women's division, if there weren't contracts involved and things like that where I can't, but if everybody was available and I had the funds, I would definitely be going with Bayley. Alexa Bliss is probably my top 2 picks. After that, I'd probably look a little deeper at the roster and see. I like Toni Storm a bit. But those are a few of the names I'd throw up there. In the women's division, tag team, without question, without doubt, would be the Revival. And I'd bring the Ascension back, and I'd make them bad as shit. They would fucking destroy the roster the way it should have been, the way it was. Willie Thompson, great question, my friend. The state of 2K20 is it still ain't fixed. The patch did help make it a little tolerable. You can now have created wrestlers fight created wrestlers. I still have not even touched universe mode because there's no point right now because I can't create my wrestlers because the creation suite still ain't fixed right. And a lot of us have done videos on, a lot of us have posted them up to 2K developers, and hopefully they're going to get that fixed with the next patch. But right now when you bring in your face scans and then you try to move the eyes around on the layout, the face scan eyes are already moving and you haven't locked it in yet. So if you don't understand all I'm saying, just go back to my last video on where it says, 1.02 is still broken. And it demonstrates it there for you. So until they get that fixed, I'm not doing shit. Jackhammer, the story of Brian Pillman defecating on the bathroom floor while shooting promos. I got to tell you, I had not heard that story. That's an interesting story. Cornette stated that a former Progress announcer should hang himself for how he dressed at an event. He was joking, but Corgan wasn't having it. All right. I'm going to go out on a limb here and think that Corgan is not a Trump guy. Not that Cornette is either. But you have to be able to understand when somebody's joking. He didn't tell the guy to hang himself because he sucks. He dressed at an event. That it's a play on words and just saying how badly dressed you were. People got to stop taking everything fucking literally. It drives me crazy. Yeah, Theo, there are going to be more patches, and I believe they'll fix that one anyway. But here's the problem. I paid for 12 months of this game, and I haven't played it yet. I should have 12 calendar months to play the game I paid $60 for. And we are now into November, and I haven't done my first show. I'm not going to count that Halloween Havoc mess because it wasn't in universe mode, because it couldn't be. And it was shit. And I give them full credit for it. I'm not saying I've never had a bad stream, but that was all them. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't, get into the character of the announcers and stuff like that. Because I really hated it. I hated everything about the experience. Oh, I didn't put my faith in one patch at all. As a matter of fact, I was quite curious to see what they could actually fix with one patch. But I knew it wouldn't be everything. Although, I somehow thought they would have all of the logo things corrected. That said, they don't. I like Eli Drake. I like him a lot. I think he's good with a mic. Another one, strong microphone skills. For me, that matters more. Think about some of the guys in wrestling. Jesse Ventura. Really strong on a microphone. Not so much in the ring. But you still wanted to go see it. He was able to talk you into buying a ticket. Because you want to see him get his ass kicked. And then he stands outside the ring and runs around the ring and takes off his bow and his earrings and all this shit. And 15 minutes gone by. Motherfucker hasn't even locked up yet. Time of the match, 22 minutes and 7 seconds. Well, they only in the ring together 3 minutes. Next free agent, my guess, because I don't know when the contracts are all coming to an end, who's first, who's next, whatever. I would think is Randy Orton. I think Randy's ready to leave. He's made his money. He doesn't need any more. But he's not ready to be done. He's got a ton of talent. And I think he looks at it, this organization, AEW, throwing money away just like TNA did with the Halls and Nashes of the world. And he's like, hey, I'm going to get that fucking paycheck. Wrestle once a week? Fuck yeah. Shelton Benjamin is at the end of his run, though, Jack. I just don't see much that you're going to do with him. I mean, in a smaller promotion like AEW, then yeah, I guess you could say sky's the limit there. Vince definitely has a lot of library stuff, and some of it is old NWA stuff prior to WCW. Seeing Attorney heel could definitely have some bite to it. It's just not going to happen. Cena's done. He's doing the Rock stuff now. He's gone on to the movie industry. I truly believe he loves and misses wrestling in front of a live crowd, but he's done. Not to say you won't see him come back just for WrestleMania, make an appearance, or maybe get in the ring real quick and do something. But, you know, he ain't going to be signing no 90-day contracts and showing up 4 times and wrestling 5 matches. I don't see it. I wouldn't if I was him. I don't think the WWE games are over at all. As a matter of fact, I think Ukes, aren't they working on the Here Comes the Pain thing that they've been teasing but not actually coming out officially to say? Weren't they the ones that had that post, that cryptic post on Twitter about, I don't know, 3 months ago or so, where they said, hey, man, we've been playing a lot of SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, just saying, great game. And then everyone lost their fucking minds. Oh, my God, they're bringing it back, which I hope they do. That was an awesome fucking game. And it would totally kick the shit out of this one. I honestly have no idea who Flip Gordon is. No idea. Oh, they're doing the AEW game? All right, well, so who's the ones that were talking about SmackDown? Here Comes the Pain. There was another big company where their devs put out a post about 3 months ago teasing. Original Biggie, good morning to you, my friend. How the heck are you? Yeah, I know they were scanned. And here again, this is why AEW is going to fail. Didn't TNA get a game out pretty quickly? A game, singular, never to be followed up again? This is not how you prioritize things. This is a business. But you've got a kid running it with his dad's wallet, and this is just not the way you do it. You don't put the game out first. You put the product out first. You develop it, you hone it, you get it solid. It is not a solid product. Anyone who says it is joking. If your priority is worrying about a fucking video game, you're not here for long. Willie Thompson, 2K Sports, were they the ones that put out that little tweet a while back? I don't know. Maybe they could do a dumbed down version, though, because, again, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, it was just wrestling. That's all it was. There's no career mode. There were no fantasy arenas and shit like that. So maybe if you just gave them the sole responsibility of having arcade wrestling, they could knock that one out of the park, perhaps. Yeah, Jack, I completely agree. And again, I'm not going to relive TNA and do it all over again. That's all this is. It's Dixie Carter 2.0, and that's it. So, hey, their money. At the very end, look, Shahid's not worrying about it because when his son screws the pooch, which he will, it's destined, he's going to have a tax write-off. And guys with that kind of money need a big tax write-off. So if he loses 10, 15, 20 million, that's nothing for him. And he'll get it back in taxes. It'll actually help him. Hey, this whole thing may be a ruse. STU Kaza. I like it. Book it. All right, boys and girls, I just wanted to stop by and say hi. I just wanted to let you guys know what we're doing. And if you didn't catch the beginning of the stream, go ahead and watch the first 5 minutes or so. It'll tell you all about the upcoming programming here on the Nation Network. I've got to wrap things up because I got a day off with my girl, and we got a lot of stuff to do. And we're going to go check out the new Terminator movie. Looking forward to that. Great reviews. I heard today on the way home it made a lot of money, but it's on point to lose $120 million. I find that hard to believe. So I will let you guys know in the next open mic type event what my thoughts were on the Terminator when I get home from watching it. But I tell you right now, man, I'm looking forward to it. It did well on Rotten Tomatoes, almost 70% Rotten Tomatoes and like 89% with the fans. And I'm always more impressed with the fans score anyway. And it doesn't matter to me either way because it's fucking Terminator, and that is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Even the episodes that most people hate, I still find positive things in, and I can watch them multiple times over and over again. So I am looking forward to it. Hey, Willie, I'll look for you, man. If you're in there, try not to talk at the movie screen, though. I just hate when people do that shit. Yo, man, don't go in there. That's where the bad guy is. No shit, he can't hear you. They filmed this shit like 2 years ago. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you again ringside. And don't you forget what I said. Late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning, we're going to have some NWA Power Hour. And we will find out what happened with that women's title match, I promise you. Love you. Mean it. Bye.